Howdy-ho, Andrew here. Welcome to the Onion Buns and welcome to another episode of Let's Talk Oilers. Oilers versus Devils. Game 51, January 20th, 2026. Pre-show. So big lineup changes with Leon unavailable and Kapanen and Henrique injured. So the Oilers are going 11-7 with Regula drawing back in. I don't think he played more than 3 minutes in this entire game. But that's not really the story. Top line remains the same with Podkolzin, McDavid, and Hyman. Second line sees Rosevich moved up to the second line with Fredericks and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. Third line is what was our fourth line of Majapani, Lazar, and Janmark. And Howard and Savoy will see limited ice time as McDavid, Ryan, Nugent-Hopkins, Rosevich, and Lazar are expected to occasionally fill out the fourth line with them. Honestly, this makes sense to me as Howard and Savoy have not shown well in hockey games and were noticeable but had no productivity in the two non-contact shinny games versus the Islanders and Vancouver, contrary to the unreal propaganda some local media try to sell. Now, if Jersey decides to try non-contact shinny hockey against the Oilers, I could see Howard and Savoy getting more ice time. But if it's a hockey game, I don't expect to see much of them. Jari is getting the start in that. All right, period one. Fight at 2:49 of the remaining in the first period. Yeah, that's how much action was happening in the first period. We went 17 and a bit minutes before my first entry. Podkolzin goes after a Devils player for taking a run at McDavid. Podkolzin is given two for instigation, 5 for fighting, and a 10-minute misconduct. The Devils player gets 5 minutes for fighting. Devils power play. It was a BS call by the officials. Both players engaged at the same time and no obvious reason for the extra 10 to Podkolzin. And that was the end of the first. Shots on goal were, ready for this? 4-4. Yeah, I'm not joking. Score is 0-0. Well, that was a dull first period. Only 4 shots by either team. If not for the fight, I'm not sure there would have been anything at all to talk about. Good on Podkolzin for sticking up for McDavid. And, well, look, it's the second period. Period number 2. So with Podkolzin in the penalty box until roughly 5 minutes remaining in the second, it looks like Savoy's been bumped up to McDavid's line. Yeah, I don't get it either. Howard would make so much more sense. McDavid and Savoy have no chemistry at all. So we get a Devils goal at 14:37. One-timer from the slot goes through Jari. Literally, I think it hit him twice and still went in. 1-0 Devils. 7 minutes into the second, shots on goal are only 7-6 Devils. This game reminds me of the old trap New Jersey Devils. That's what this game felt like. Oilers goal, Savoy from Wallman, kinda. Wallman does a high half slapper that bounces off Savoy's body and goes in. I'm not sure if it was his shoulder, his back, or what, but it counts no matter how unintentional. 1-0. And as they always say, they don't ask you how they went in, they just ask you how many. So, but make no mistake about it. If you want to give credit for this goal, give it to Wallman. Savoy just happened to get hit by a puck. That makes the score 1-1. Then Devils goal at 11:28. Oilers turn over the puck in the neutral zone. Nurse and a Devils player are tangled up. Honestly, Nurse was being held up on the boards, allowing the Devils to get an odd man rush and a one-timer for a goal. 2-1 Devils. Devils penalty at 10:08. Delay a game, puck over the glass. Jari robs the Devils 2-on-1 shorthanded chance after the nightly Bouchard turnover. It happens every game, so Jari again saves Bouchard's bacon. Excellent athletic save by Jari. It was his save of the game. Allen had a few of his own for the Devils, but that was the big save for Jari. Devils penalty at 5:50, tripping. Another Devils penalty at 5 minutes, interference, but an Oilers penalty, 5 minutes for McDavid for embellishment. So those two canceled out each other. Oilers still had a power play. Nothing came of it. End of the second. Shots on goal are 15-9 for the Devils. 2-1 is the score. Well, things started to pick up at least, but 9 shots after 2 periods. And our only goal is Wallman using Savoy as a bumper in bumper pool. That's absolutely not good enough. Knobloch seems to be playing his games again, keeping Savoy up with McDavid. So there is nothing happening from that line thus far except for Wallman using Savoy as a bumper. Hopefully the team fully wakes up in the third, or we will still not win 3 consecutive games this season. I still do not understand why Howard's not getting a look with McDavid. Howard is the potential top 6 player between him and Savoy. Savoy is at best a potential middle 6 player. And Howard, in my opinion, has a much higher offensive pedigree than Savoy. So I don't understand why they're not putting Howard up with McDavid and Hyman. I mean, you got Hyman as your net front presence. You got McDavid as your playmaker, shooter, jack of all trades. Put Howard out there and tell him to shoot. But Nobby loves to reward his favorites, and Savoy is one of his favorites. Third period, massive save by Jake Allen on Podkolzin. Then Hyman hits the post. Then McDavid is stopped dead. Like it was 3, boom, boom, boom. Allen saved this game for the Devils in that sequence. I have no doubt about it. Savoy has finally been moved off of McDavid's line, and the 3 best chances of the game result. How we didn't get one is amazing. Another amazing save by Allen. McDavid threads pass to Hyman on the far post, but Allen stretches out to stop a for sure tap in, and a goal that Hyman so rarely misses. The good news is McDavid, Podkolzin, and Hyman are absolutely flying this period. Oilers officially have more shots on goal in the third than they had in periods 1 and 2 combined. 6:20 remaining, shots on goal are now 14-21 for the Oilers. Shots on goal this period are 0-11 for the Oilers. Oilers pull Jari at 1:30 remaining. Oilers 6-on-5, nothing comes of it. End of the game, shots on goal, 17-21 for the Oilers. Devils win 2-1. Well, not winning 3 consecutive games continues, but when you only have 9 shots after 2 periods, is anyone really surprised? Like, honestly, are you really surprised? Even our 1 goal was pure luck, or maybe it was just amazing shot placement by Wallman playing bumper pool instead of hockey, but yeah. But we've seen this before where the Oilers play 1 period and think that's good enough to win, and many times it is. Tonight it wasn't. But let's be honest, we should never only get 1 period of effort. It doesn't matter if they are talented enough to pull it off. It should never happen. 3 stars tonight. I'm going to go with Hyman, McDavid, and Podkolzin for their third period play. The Slugs, I'm going first 2 periods, the entire team, first 2 periods, and Knobloch. So Hyman, McDavid, and Podkolzin were all world in the third period. How they didn't score is unthinkable. It really is. As for the Slugs, the team stunk in the first 2 periods. They were absolutely horrible. And Knobloch played favorites. Again, yes, Savoy credited with a goal, but that goal was about Wallman, not Savoy, contrary to Bob Stauffer, who thinks it was, like, he even named Savoy one of the stars. Even Sportsnet didn't, but Bob did on the Ched broadcast. But it's like, no, the puck bounced off him. Like I said, they don't ask you how they went in, they ask you how many. So you give Savoy the credit. He was in the right spot to be used as a bumper for bumper pool. But that goal was all about Wallman and his shot placement. Like, he knew, he took it off so he didn't hurt anyone, but he knew exactly where he was putting that puck, and he was going for the deflection. I think in his mind, he was hoping Savoy would actually intentionally deflect it. That didn't happen, but that was Wallman's intention. So to me, if we're going to give credit to anyone on that goal, you give it to Wallman. Savoy once again proved he has 0 chemistry with McDavid, and that line had nothing going for it with Savoy on it. But Knobloch stuck with it regardless. I understand Podkolzin was in the penalty box until the last 5 minutes of the second, so you put Howard with McDavid and tell Howard to shoot. Instead, Howard got very limited play in a game we desperately needed offense. You know what this game reminded me of with Howard? It reminded me of what Knobloch did last year with Jeff Skinner. Like Arvidsson has come out now and said, now that he's on a different team, he's come out and he said, I shouldn't have been playing. I should have been in the press box. I had no chemistry with that team, but they kept dressing me and putting me out there because Knobloch didn't like Jeff Skinner. So he never gave Jeff Skinner a chance, even though, as far as we know, Jeff Skinner could have actually done what Jeff Skinner does, score goals. But Knobloch wouldn't give him the opportunity. And I'm seeing the same thing with Howard. Knobloch will not give him the opportunity. Now, he's not putting Howard in the press box as much as he did Jeff Skinner, so I'm not going to go as far as saying he doesn't like Ike Howard, but he's not giving him the opportunities. He's playing favorites again, even if it doesn't work. So yeah, Knobloch gets a slug. He's got to start acting like a coach and not a cheerleader. We got Bob Stauffer to be the team cheerleader. Give him a little tutu and woo, woo. We don't need our coach to be one. That's just bad coaching, in my opinion. Oilers are now 25-18-8. Next game is Thursday, January 22nd, 2026 versus Pittsburgh Penguins, 7 p.m. on Sportsnet. And that's my recap for today. If you like this video, leave a like, a subscribe, and a share. I'm trying to grow my channel, and a like, a subscribe, and a share does me wonders, and I do appreciate it. It takes 1 second to subscribe, costs you absolutely nothing, helps me immensely. Just hit the subscribe button on the bottom of the screen. If you're watching this on Rumble, please follow my channel. Always feel free to leave a comment. Please come in, tell me. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Do you think Howard should have been up on the first line while Podkolzin was serving a 17-minute of penalties? Or do you think Savoy was the right choice? Because the funny thing is about the Savoy goal, he wasn't on the ice with McDavid and Hyman at that point. He was on the ice with Howard. I'm not even sure who the center was, but it was Savoy, Howard, somebody else, and then it was Wallman and Stastny on the blue line. So the one little bit of offense Savoy got had nothing to do with McDavid. When McDavid and Hyman were out there with Savoy, it was Deadsville. There was nothing happening. Nothing at all. It was just, it was Deadsville. So come in the comments, tell me, did you see it the same way or did you see it differently? And please, if you saw it differently, explain it. Don't just say, you're wrong. No, come in and explain it. I would love to hear somebody actually explain what they think they're seeing with Savoy out there, because frankly, I've said this before, I don't see where he fits on this team. And that's not all on Matt Savoy. Let's be clear here. That's on the team makeup. I just don't see where he fits on this team. He's not a top 6 player, and he's not a bottom 6 player on this team. He does not mesh with any of them. So what exactly is he bringing? And again, I'm not saying he doesn't have potential. He does, and in the right situation, on the right team, I could see him fitting. It's just not this team, is what I'm saying. So, also, leaving a comment really does help me with the YouTube algorithm and getting more eyes on my videos. And as always, pew 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 and shit. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Bye.